I never thought I would one day tell this story. For a long time, I believed that silence was safer than the truth. Today, I realize it was that silence that nearly destroyed me. When I got married, I was certain of two things: that I was building a family and that I would do anything to protect it. I worked long hours. I left early and came home late. Not because I wanted to escape from home, but because I wanted to ensure comfort, stability, a future. My wife said she understood. My children smiled when I arrived tired, or at least, that's what I believed. Over time, some things began to change. Short conversations, looks that avoided mine, dinners too quiet for a house that had once been full of laughter. I asked if everything was okay. She said yes. The children said yes, and I chose to believe it. Until the day I realized it wasn't just distance, it was exclusion. There were conversations happening without me, decisions being made without my knowledge, and a strange feeling as if I were a visitor in my own home. At the time, I still didn't know it, but my family was already learning how to live without me. The first crack appeared in a trivial way: a cell phone left on the kitchen table. The screen lit up with a notification too quick to be ignored. I didn't pick up the phone, not at that moment, but something kept pounding in my head for the rest of the day. It wasn't jealousy, it was instinct. In the following weeks, I began to notice patterns. She went out more, came home later. She said she was tired but spent hours online. When I entered the bedroom, she turned the phone face down. When I spoke, she answered without looking at me. And the worst part, my children started acting as if I were a stranger. They spoke in low voices when I came near. They stopped laughing when I entered the room. They avoided questions. I tried to talk. Did something happen? I asked one night. She sighed as if I were being inconvenient. You've been very suspicious lately. That sentence stayed with me, because innocent people don't usually use that tone. The truth began to surface little by little. Fragments, half-truths, silences that lasted far too long, until one night, everything collapsed. I heard my name being mentioned, followed by laughter. They weren't happy laughs. They were the kind of laughs from people who feel relieved to speak badly about someone. I walked into the living room. The silence was immediate. My wife looked at me with pity. My children looked away. That was when I understood. They had already chosen a side. The conversation that changed my life didn't involve shouting. There was no scene. There was coldness. She sat across from me and said, without emotion, "We're not happy anymore." I asked, "Since when?" She answered, "It's been a while." A while. While I was working. While I was believing. While I was providing for that house. The betrayal wasn't only romantic, it was emotional. It was familial. I found out she already had someone else. But what destroyed me wasn't that. It was realizing that my own children knew. They knew, and they hid it. Not out of cruelty, but because someone convinced them that I was the problem. That I was absent. That I was cold. That I was guilty. That day I lost 3 people at once. I didn't fight. I didn't beg. I didn't scream. I left the house with a backpack, and the feeling that my existence had been erased. In the months that followed, everything collapsed. A small apartment, nights in absolute silence, food without taste, days without meaning. I woke up with no desire to get out of bed. I went to sleep hoping not to wake up. The thought always came back: if I disappear, will anyone notice? I began to avoid mirrors, avoid people, avoid the world. Not because I was weak, but because I was broken by the ones I protected the most. And rock bottom didn't come all at once. It came in installments. Every ignored message, every forgotten special date, every memory that hurt more than the day before. Until on some random early morning, I finally understood that I had reached my limit. There isn't an exact moment when you realize you've hit rock bottom. There's no sign, no warning. It simply happens. In my case, it was on a night that was far too quiet. I was sitting on the living room floor, leaning against the wall with the lights off, my phone in my hand, no notifications, no messages. I swiped through the gallery and stopped on an old photo. The 4 of us. Just an ordinary Sunday. Smiles that now felt like they belonged to another life. That was when I felt something finally break. I didn't cry. The tears had run out days earlier. What came after was worse: emptiness. The feeling that I no longer belonged to anyone's story. As if I had been a disposable character. I started missing work. Then I started going, but not producing anything. People talked to me and it took me seconds to understand. My mind was always in the same place. The house that was no longer mine. The children I didn't see. The family that moved on without me. There were days when I seriously thought about disappearing. Not dying, just stopping existing for others. But something strange happened during that time. When everything was lost. When no one expected anything from me. I finally stopped trying to please anyone. And it was in that absolute silence that the smallest and most important decision of my life was born. It wasn't a motivational speech. It wasn't a pretty phrase. It was an ugly, simple, lonely decision. If no one cares, then I will take care of myself. I started small, ridiculously small. Waking up early, taking a shower even when I didn't feel like it. Making the bed. I went back to work. I accepted extra shifts. I saved every cent. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't post anything. I didn't ask for recognition. Meanwhile, my former family kept living their lives. I saw photos from afar. I saw trips. I saw smiles. And for the first time, it didn't destroy me. Because something was changing inside me. I started studying at night, taking care of my body, organizing my mind. Months passed, then years, and the man they left behind no longer existed. The reunion happened when I least expected it. I received a short message. We need to talk. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel fear, just curiosity. We met at a simple cafe. When I arrived, they were already there. My ex-wife looked tired. My children, too grown for the time that had passed. They looked at me as if they were seeing a stranger, and in a way they were. We talked, or rather, they talked. Life hadn't turned out the way they imagined. Choices had consequences. Silence turned into regret. At some point my ex said, "We were wrong about you." I listened. But that sentence no longer carried the weight it would have years before, because I wasn't there to be forgiven, nor to forgive. I was there whole. When they asked if we could start over, I took a deep breath before answering. "I'm not that man anymore," I said. "Not with bitterness, with truth." I explained that the pain destroyed me, but it also rebuilt me. That I learned to live without, depending on the love of those who didn't choose me. That I learned to be enough. I didn't close doors, but I didn't run back either. Today, my relationship with my children is different. More honest, more mature. We're not perfect, but we're real. And if you made it this far thinking this is a story about betrayal, you misunderstood. This is a story about rebirth, about losing everything, and discovering that sometimes that's the beginning.